I asked my dad why he hated Thanksgiving, and he broke down. So I've always wondered why my dad gets super weird and distant around Thanksgiving. Like every year since I was little, he would make excuses to work or would suddenly plan fishing trips right when November rolled around. My mom always handled it by doing Thanksgiving with her side of the family and telling us dad just doesn't like the holiday, but never explained why. Growing up, it was just normal to us that dad wasn't around for Thanksgiving. He'd make it up to us with extra Christmas enthusiasm or whatever. We never really questioned it TBH. About a week ago, I was helping my parents move some stuff from their basement when I found this old photo album I'd never seen before. Dad immediately grabbed it from me when he saw what I was holding and got super weird about it. Didn't yell or anything, but his whole vibe changed and he was like, "That's private," which is not like him at all. My dad has always been the most open book ever. Literally tells us everything about his life, no filter, sometimes TMI, honestly LOL. So him being secretive about anything was like a total personality shift. After that, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I kept remembering all those Thanksgivings he missed, all those years of him making himself scarce around late November. I remembered once when I was little, asking why we never had Thanksgiving at our house, and mom just saying, "Daddy doesn't like Turkey Day," and changing the subject. So 2 days ago, I went over to their place when I knew mom would be at her book club. I never do sneaky stuff like this, but something felt important about it. IDK. When I got there, dad was in the garage organizing tools. I just came out with it. Asked him straight up why he's always hated Thanksgiving so much. Told him I remembered all those years he'd disappear and that I saw how he reacted to that photo album. I was not prepared for what happened next. He just stopped. Like completely froze with a wrench in his hand. I watched his shoulders start to shake. My dad is like the stereotypical stoic dad type. Never cries, makes jokes when things get emotional. But he just sat down on his work stool and put his head in his hands. It was terrifying. I immediately regretted asking and started apologizing. But he held up his hand and was like, "No, Riley, it's time you knew." That's when he told me about Eliana. Eliana was his first wife, his wife. This completely blew my mind because none of us kids ever knew dad was married before mom. They got together when they were both 19, college sweethearts. He showed me a small photo he keeps in his wallet behind our family photos. She was gorgeous, this radiant woman with dark curly hair. The whole time he's telling me this, he's like barely holding it together. Dad kept saying how much she loved Thanksgiving, how it was her favorite holiday, how she would start planning in September. She'd make these elaborate table settings and cook for days. He said Thanksgiving was her Super Bowl, and the one time of year she went all out. I just sat there stunned, trying to process that my dad had this whole other life before us. A whole marriage none of us ever knew about. I watched him struggle to continue, his hands shaking as he pulled out that old photo album I'd found, the one he'd grabbed from me so quickly. It was full of Thanksgiving photos. Eliana setting tables, cooking turkeys, laughing with family, page after page of Thanksgiving celebrations spanning years. Finally, he showed me the last page in the album. It had a handwritten Thanksgiving dinner plan and a guest list. There were little sketches of table settings and a menu that looked half finished. Dad's voice cracked as he told me this was for their 4th Thanksgiving together, the one they were hosting for both families for the first time in their little starter home, the one that never happened. He was struggling so hard to tell me the rest. I just sat there on an overturned bucket in the garage waiting, this horrible feeling of dread washing over me. Dad kept opening his mouth to continue and then shutting it again, tears streaming down his face now. He said Eliana had been cooking and prepping for days. Everything was ready, the table set with name cards she'd handmade, decorations she'd crafted for months, but she realized Thanksgiving morning she'd forgotten cranberries, such a small thing. She insisted on running to the store to get them, wanted everything to be perfect. Dad offered to go, but she said she needed him to watch the turkey. His voice got really quiet when he said a drunk driver hit her car head on. She died instantly. It was 7 a.m. on Thanksgiving morning. I couldn't even speak. Dad just sat there with tears running down his face, telling me how he had to call everyone who was supposed to come for dinner and tell them what happened, how he couldn't even look at Thanksgiving food for years after.